So I'm sure you can't talk about this. Well, I'm sure you can like say that you're part of it, but I don't know how much you could tell us. You're going to be in Stranger Things, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did about a month and a half on that last year, a couple episodes.
How you doing, brother?
Good, good. Hanging in there. Hoping to get some work this year. It's going to be an interesting year. We'll see what happens.
Interesting year, man. I was looking over your resume. You got some stuff. So let's start at the beginning. Go ahead and introduce yourself and then just kind of give me your origin story, man. How did all this how did you get started in stunt work?
So hey, everyone, I'm Lance Herota, professional stuntman for film and TV for the last 8.5 years. How I got started is kind of a loaded question. If you ask any stunt person how they got their start, you're going to get a different answer from every single one of them. No one's got the same origin story for the most part. For me, grew up in Orlando, Florida. That was a firefighter, EMT for Orlando, and his part-time job was doing the fireworks for Disney. So as a kid, I'd go to Disney as a little bit, going to the live shows like Indiana Jones and stuff. Saw that show for the first time when I was like probably 6. Thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And that bug just never went away. Dude, I was like, we'd play Stuntman, jumping out of trees and stuff and rolling around the couch just being stupid. And never really known it could be like a career one day. It just kind of seemed like one of those like, oh, I want to be an astronaut or a race car driver. Um, so then fast forward, over 10 years later, I got my first job at Howling Horror Night Studios Entertainment as a scare actor. And then through that, I met some of the guys and girls that did the live action stunt shows like Sinbad and stuff. And then started asking more questions about stunts. And at that time, I was already in EMT school and went from that to the fire academy, did firefighter EMS for a little while. But the whole film side just never really kind of left me alone. So I always wanted to pursue that. And then my friends from Orlando moved to Georgia to get into the film side of things. And I saw them starting to do movies and TV shows. And I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So I started asking more questions like, hey, how do I get involved in doing that? And they're like, you got to quit firefighting. You got to move to Georgia, New Orleans, California, New York, somewhere that's got a film industry in it, and start getting work as an extra to get on sets and start pursuing that like it's your full-time job. So after a lot of things had to go wrong in what I thought I'm going to have in my life for me to get into this part of things. So like in my mid 20s, I was still wanting to be in the military. So I enlisted in the Marine Corps, and I was still a firefighter in Central Florida at the time. And during one of our annual physicals, they had found benign thyroid nodules, had to go get biopsies and all that, make sure I didn't have cancer. Ended up, thank God, being nothing. But I told my recruiter about that, and it went to a whole another level with MEPS and VUMED and stuff with having those benign thyroid nodules. And it took me 18 months to get banned from the Marine Corps medically for life. The reason being I got banned for life was after the 12-month marker, I got disqualified. And my recruiter told me, well, he didn't tell me, he goes, I can't tell you to write your state senator because I'm not allowed to do that. But sometimes you can do that and they'll look into it. So I wrote Mike Rubio this long letter about everything that I'd gone through. And Rubio filed an injunction against the Marine Corps. I went to military appeals court for 6 months. And after the military appeals court, I got banned for life from the Marine Corps. So at that point, I was like, all right, well, that's not my path, clearly. So I finally picked up, moved to Georgia, started getting jobs as an extra. My first extra job was on Sleepy Hollow, the old Fox show. Did Survivor's Remorse, did Vampire Diaries. Like, this is all background work. But got me on sets, got me kind of learning the lingo and what kind of happens and what all it entails. Just sit there and just to witness it. That was just fascinating. And then through that, I got moved up to stand-in, where you stand in for an actor. And when you're doing that, they just put you in the actors or actresses' clothes or similar colors, and you literally just stand where they're going to stand. And they set up all the lights and audio and cameras for that. But once you're a stand-in, you kind of get more close with the directors and the producers. They get to learn your name. And so through that, met the stunt coordinator for Sleepy Hollow, and wasn't trying, we called it hustling back then. It's kind of gone away after COVID, but you just go by sets, bring your headshot and resume. Oh, hey, sir, or hey, man, my name's Lance Herota. Here's my stuff. Please hire me. So I wasn't trying to hustle him. I was trying to just pick his brain. And I asked one of the PAs, I was like, hey, could you ask Mr. Copeman if he's free? This is John Copeman, if I could just talk to him. So he's met me at lunch. I had my little notepad and books and stuff, and we sat down. And he's like, "Do you have a headshot and resume?" I'm like, "Not yet, sir. I'm trying to get started." He goes, "You need to go get headshots. You need to have a resume. Do you have a stunt reel?" "No, sir. I'm trying to get. You got to have a stunt reel." I'm taking all these notes. He grabs my pen out of my hand, grabs my notepad, and starts writing down his email address. He goes, "You've got 2 weeks to get me a headshot, a reel, or don't hustle me ever again." And then he walked away. And I was like, "What just happened?" I was like, "Oh no, did I screw that up? Did I do okay?" And so I went straight from set, got headshots done. I couldn't afford them, but put them on a credit card. Called all my stunt friends that I knew from back home and that were up here now. And I'm like, "I got to get a reel in less than 2 weeks." Crappy stair falls, crappy choreography, backyard fire burns. Just it was way too long. You watch it now and you cringe. But most people, like your first reel, because you watch all your friends' reels and they've all done these big movies and big TV shows, and always it was like in a gym or a backyard, or just it's not anything that you want it to look like. But everyone has to start somewhere, and everyone starts at the beginning. So I got him that, and he's like, "I'm glad you followed through with what I told you to do. It's way too long, but you did what I told you to do. When you get your SAG card, keep me posted." Um, and that was the biggest kicker. So with stunts, you've got to join the Screen Actors Guild in the United States, but you can't join SAG until you've worked on a SAG contract, but you won't get a SAG contract until you join SAG-AFTRA. So I'm like, "Okay, well, how do I join SAG?" "Well, you've got to work." "Okay, well, how do I work?" "You got to join SAG first." And
Yeah.
so I had to get what's called Taft-Hartley or Tafted, which is where you either have a skill set they need, look what they need, or they just need so many people, they don't care, and they'll just taft you. And so that one I got tafted on with Spider-Man Homecoming back in 2016 when I worked on that. Trying to get my foot through the door. I was doing Uber, I was doing Lyft, I was a pool boy, I was doing delivery, like any kind of odd job I could do where I could trade shifts and then go, work as a background actor somewhere. And then when the phone rang for that, I was on my last pool of the day. I get a phone call and like, "Hi, this is Vanessa from Summer of George. Are you free to work next week?" In my head, I'm like, "Summer of George." I'm like, "What is this for background, for stand?" She's like, "No, it's for stunts." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm free." Went in my truck. I'm like, "What is Summer of George?" And looked it up, and it was the working title for Spider-Man Homecoming. And that just worked out because one of my friends I went to a premiere with for one of her TV shows that she was an actress on. We were sitting there watching it. My buddy next to me, he's like, "Hey, are you going to that thing tomorrow?" I'm like, "What thing?" He's like, Never mind." I'm like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "No, tomorrow's a meet and greet for Spider-Man with George Cottle and Bryson Cowan, two of the stunt coordinators." And I'm like, "Is it for people who are already only in SAG?" And he goes, "It didn't say that." So I went by there and dropped off my stuff. And months later, I got the phone call. And that was the turning point, because after I got that Taft-Hartley, called SAG the next day, paid my dues and everything once I was all approved. Sent my email to John Coatman. The next day he called me. He's like, "Hey, you're free to work next week," and started getting jobs on Sleepy Hollow season 4. But it's a pain to get there. It took pursuing it full time. It took me over 3 years to get my first day of work, of stunt work. And so you're wondering, like, is it ever going to happen? Is it ever going to happen? It's never going to happen. And you got to just kind of put that in the back burner. Don't listen to that and just keep pushing for it. Because it could, for all you know, that phone call could come the very next day. But if you give up, it's one of those it was hard. It was really hard. But thank God I didn't give up. And thank God that all these things kind of pushed me to where I got to. And I'm much happier now than I would have been doing anything else, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So was Sleepy Hollow, or was Vampire Diaries like kind of your first one in?
Sleepy Hollow was my first. Spider-Man was my first stunt job, but my first background job was Sleepy Hollow season 3.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Vampire Diaries, because I was going to ask if because you did fire safety in that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of my stunt jobs. Yeah, so that one was funny. I was going down to Orlando for a wedding, and I was an hour from my friend's house in Orlando, and I get a text, "Hey, Paul V Diaries, you free tomorrow?" "Yes, sir." Called my buddy. He's like, "Hey, are you here?" I'm like, "Actually, I'm driving back to Atlanta." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I got work on Vampire Diaries." He's like, "You're going to come to the wedding?" I'm like, "I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, I'm still going to come down." So it was a night shoot. So I drove, 7 hours, U-turn, 7 hours back to Atlanta. So just 14 hours for fun. And
Just
then,
for fun.
yeah, that's what it felt like. Did the Fire 50 for the night shoot, and then left set at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and drove straight down to Orlando for the wedding that was happening that day. But
did the firefighting help you get that fire safety job?
I feel like it probably did. Having that kind of background, because when Paul Burke called me, I let him know, I'm like, I don't have a fire suit, because we wear like the fire safety suits like you wear in like race cars, like the Sparko suits or Alpine Star suits. I'm like, I don't have my own fire suit for that. I don't have my own stuff. He's like, I'll let you borrow my stuff. You're good. We just want to have you on. I'm like, great. So after that, went out and bought all my own whole kit. So I got still many suits now. I got a whole bunch of stuff. But for that one, I'm like, want you to know I don't have what you need me to have just yet.
Yeah.
I'm always very forward and honest. I don't want to ever make someone think I'm trying to fluff up my resume or fluff up my skill set and then show up like, oh, I don't have what you need me to have. And that's always, you don't ever want to have that day on set.
Yeah.
If you're a liar, they find out real quick.
So when you were hustling the sets, or actually then and now, do you have to have an agent or a manager to do stunts?
You don't have to. I don't. Most stunt people don't. There are a lot of stunt performers, though, who also act, because there are a lot of stunt acting roles where instead of hiring an actor and a stunt person, they can hire one and the same, pay your stunt contract, opposed to paying agent fees and, oh, my actor's worth $5,000 a day. So they're just like, well, hire the stunt person, have them throw the dialogue out, pay them the flat day rate or weekly rate, whatever it is, saves them money. And then also get you some of that acting dialogue and stuff on your resume. I've been called for a few, but I never got cash for them. I didn't really put a whole lot of effort into my acting stuff yet, which I probably need to. That's probably going to be coming this year, is getting into some acting classes and stuff and not having to miss those kinds of jobs either. But there are a few agents who will help you get stunt work. They'll help you get, like I'm doing more conventions now. So they'll help you do like appearance agents and get more convention work and stuff. So I'm trying to get more into the convention world now. I've done the camp 3 times, supposed to be back at the camp in Peachtree City, and I think it's May. I don't know if it's on the calendar. It hasn't been announced yet, but we'll see if that comes through this week or this year or not. Always had a great time there. Did the High Paranormal Convention show in Paragould, Arkansas. That was a great time. But it's kind of hard getting into those conventions without having an agent that does the appearance agency stuff. But
yeah,
trying to get into that, it's another avenue of just trying to get your face out there. And just, I like talking and hanging out with people. And that's kind of what conventions are when you're a guest. You just hang out with them, meet fans and talk to them. And I just tell stories. I get yelled at because I hold a line up. Like, you gotta move the line. I'm like, there's not a huge line. I'm going to keep talking to people. They can all listen.
Yeah. I love that. So, stunt people, you guys are like, you're doing all the real scary stuff. What stunt has scared? And you're kind of like, you're doing a whole bunch of different stuff. You're taking like hits and fire and stuff. Cause I know usually, isn't it like stunt people kind of specialize at like a certain thing, right?
Definitely not any job. Like, I'm not a high fall guy. So like my high profile stuff is firework. So the bread and butter is like your basic fights, basic reactions, basic falls. But then you get into like your high profile stuff, like high falls, even low falls. If you don't know how to fall correctly, you can really get injured. Driving, motorcycles, all that kind of stuff. So I don't delve in any of that. I do my main known fortes are creature work and firework, and then just the regular basic, just hitting the ground, falling over, getting fights and thrown into stuff and smashed and all that good stuff. Trying to think. But yeah, I'd be fire. But the one that probably made me the most uncomfortable was I had to cannonball to a hot tub for Pete Davidson on I Want You Back. It's an Amazon rom-com. It was a night shoot. They had built the hot tub above ground. We're in some really nice house in Atlanta. Same house they filmed Reptile in, actually. I was watching that movie. I'm like, I've been in that kitchen. We hung out there. I've been in that house. I know where that is. So it's funny to see when they use the same kind of houses, rent them out from people and use them for other shows. But that was I think it was on a weekly contract, and we didn't get to that until like the end of the week. And I'm just sitting there, and we weren't sure if we'll have to go off of the balcony, like the actual handrail, or just the lip outside of the railing. So what I had asked was, because they're going to edit Pete Davidson going from the railing, and we built this big scaffolding with porta pits on it. So we had Charlie Day go off the railing into the porta pits, and so did Pete. But they only had maybe like a 5 foot drop into the pads from the railing. And I was like, hey, so since you're going to edit Pete's jump into the pads with my jump, am I able to go off of that outside ledge into the hot tub versus the railing, which is about 3.5 feet difference? And we weren't sure. And so the whole week I'm just sitting there like, I hope I get to go off the lower part, because if not, we'll see what happens. Yeah. It was safe, but we had built like 1-inch high dense foam on the whole inside of the hot tub, but it was above ground, so there was a wood deck around the whole tub itself, and then it was just dumping water all night. So I'm just like, oh, if I get real unlucky right when I get in the air, it's gonna just drop out, no water, right to foam. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and it didn't. But before I went, they were like, don't go short, don't go long, stay tucked, do not open up, and avoid that first step, because the inside of the tub there was a step. So they're like, miss that step, don't go too far, don't come untucked, and stay under for a few beats. They want to have some dialogue with you underwater, and then pop up and tub jump. So one take, got it. Thank God it was done. They're like, that was it. I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I don't want to do it again. Wasn't really that sketch, but it was sketch enough where I was just in my own head, and I'm like, man, if I don't thread that needle right, it's gonna hurt. But it went well. And then fire, I'm always not uneasy, but you have that respect, and because like part of the job is with what I do is I think about what could possibly go wrong, and if that happens, how would I get out of it, or what could I do to minimize the impact of something going poorly? But with that, now you're thinking about all the darkness and all the negative things. But I think that adrenaline and that kind of inner dialogue keeps you safe, because it just makes you remember, okay, what I'm doing is dangerous, but who your fire teams are, who your coordinators are, who your fire coordinators are. And, I've been fortunate with some of the best guys in the business and best girls in the business to be around me when I'm doing fire stuff, to keep me safe and walk you through it. But fire guys get a little more heart pumping, because fire is one of those gags. If fire goes wrong, it's one of those that's going to go real wrong. But we always plan for backups, that kind of stuff. At least when I do burns, we always, okay, you've got backup CO2s, backup blankets, backup this. So if X, Y, Z fails, you still have Z squared to make everything stay safe.
And you don't have to go into exact numbers at all, but when you start, so you guys are union, right?
Yes.
So when you take a job, does the price go up when you start doing like from a fall, compared to fire?
Yeah. So with stunts, like with actors and stuff, they'll have their agent say, my actor or actress is worth so much money per episode or per day or whatever it is. Whereas we usually just get the flat rate. Once you get really good hype in the industry, you can kind of start asking for above scale. But for the most part, most of us work if it's called scale. So the minimum daily contract. So SAG has 3 contracts. There's a daily, a 3-day, and a weekly contract. But with stunts, we'll get what's called a stunt adjustment. So on our contracts, if you're doing a car crash or a fire burn or a big high fall or something that just sucks, they'll be like, hey, you had that big stair fall. We put you down for $800 for the stair fall that you did on top of your daily. And then what really starts to come in handy is that goes into our hourly rate. If you're on like a daily contract, I think a daily now is $1,204. I think is a daily. So say you have like a daily with an $800 adjustment. So now your daily is $2,004. So you divide that by 8. That's now your hourly rate. So after 8 hours on a daily, you're in overtime. So time and a half. After 10 hours, you're double overtime. So one of my best days was I got into double overtime on a daily with a fire burn. When the taxes come and they take half your paycheck, and you're like, oh, that's not what I was hoping it was going to be. But yeah, so with the higher profile stuff, they'll add the adjustments in, but it kind of balances out, because there's days where you're like, I'm going to get something big for this. And then you do it and you get done. You're like, oh, I didn't get anything. Okay. And then other days you're like, I'm not get anything for this. I got pushed into the bushes. I'll get $200. I'm like, oh, for what? I didn't do anything. I'm like, okay, cool. So it all balances out. But the more dangerous, the more risk involved, the more suck there is. Usually the higher adjustment that you get. And the way some of the veteran guys and girls kind of talk to us younger people are for like huge gags. They're like, all right, so the way we look at it, and again, we try to be as safe as we can. We're not daredevils. Our job is safety. Safety meetings, how can we do this safely? How can we minimize risk and all that? But there's still, I think, risk involved. So I wanted to decide tangent that I was talking about. Do that a lot.
Talking about how the money could go up, and you were saying how the older legendary actors, I think you were going to go to.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I go on tangents. But they go like, you got to ask yourself, what's my life worth today? If you're doing some gnarly, huge high fall, which I don't do high falls, but a lot of guys and girls do, you're doing this gnarly, huge high fall, and you're going to get, whatever thousands of dollars for your adjustment. You got to ask yourself, okay, what they ask me to do, is it too crazy? Is it regular crazy? Is it whatever? But again, like the most part is our job is safety. We're not just like, let's go out and be crazy. And you meet guys and girls in public and they're like, oh yeah, I'd be great at stuff. I'll do anything. I'm crazy. And you kind of just in your head, you're like, that's the wrong answer, because that's not what we do. That's not who we are. As stunt coordinators, they don't want to hear, I'm crazy, I'll do anything. It's what can you do safely? What's in your wheelhouse? What can it's just, I'll do whatever. Yeah, throw me off this, do this. Yeah. It's like, but you got to be able to do it again and again and again, not just once.
Yeah.
I can do anything once. Sure you can.
Right. You so talking about safety, you said that like when it comes to fire and just the safety talk in general, there's a lot of things to, like, you guys have a plan A and B and C in case if anything goes wrong. What are some of the things you guys do to ensure safety when performing these stunts? Besides practicing over and over.
Right. Yeah. So the beginning of fire burns is all the prep work. So you get all the fire layers and all the fire gel and everything working into the layers, and then get performer dressed. But we'll walk through, if there's choreography, we'll go through, okay, so here's your start mark, here's your end mark, here's where your safeties are going to be. So your safeties are tucked away off camera. If something goes wrong, you have your performers got their out. So if it's on the ground tapping their hands real hard, if it's just dropping to the ground and doing nothing, you know, okay, something's wrong. They either got hot or something with their breath went wrong or whatever. We'll go ahead and put them out right away. So there's all that communication beforehand. So okay, so if this goes wrong, if you do this, I know you either got really hot or something went wrong with whatever. Either way, you need to be put out. So you go put them out right away. And then with that too, with any kind of high profile gag, they'll have fire rescue right on set next to us. So if something does go wrong, you're right to the hospital. So those are always kind of a little bit more, again, I say the heart gets more riled up is when you see the ambulance right next to you and you're like, that's here for me, just in case something goes horribly wrong. And it kind of that's a little bit more, and you kind of get the realization of like, oh, I'm going to be lit on fire head to toe. That's right. It's real fire. But again, we keep everything safe and we do everything. Oh, sorry, I didn't know my email's making noise. Not that mess up your thing. Go ahead.
So you were talking about Pete earlier, and you were also Pete Davidson's stunt double on Suicide Squad. Do you have any favorite moments in that movie? I love that movie.
So he dies right away.
Yeah.
So I met him in the hair trailer. I had to get our hair matched because he was platinum blonde. So I had to get my hair dyed from this to platinum blonde all in one sitting, which was rough. I did a 3.5 hour hair session, 3 rounds of bleach, and then toner all in one sitting. And my hair was destroyed for over a year. But I didn't know who he was until Suicide Squad. And I didn't realize his family history. Like his father was a firefighter for 9/11 in New York and died in one of the towers, and didn't know any of that. So I asked one of his friends, I'm like, hey, if I got him some firefighting stuff, no, he loves that stuff. So I got him some a challenge coin, some t-shirts, a hat. And then I didn't see him again until I Want You Back with Charlie Day and all that on Amazon. And I'm like, you don't remember who I was. We only had a little bit of interaction on Suicide Squad. And we met again. He's like, oh, I have all that stuff you gave me still. I still have all that junk. I'm like, that's awesome. Remember that.
Yeah.
And didn't see him again until last year. I doubled him on The Pickup for Amazon Prime. It's going to be coming out hopefully this year. It's him and Eddie Murphy. It's going to be an action comedy. But that was a fun one. So hopefully that's going to come out this year. They haven't really announced it yet when it's going to be released, but that should be fun. But he's great to work with. He's funny. He's always on. He's a trip. He's got dark humor, which I love dark humor.
How was that beach scene with, like, you know, I'm sure you got to see like Harley Quinn and just like, are you a comic book fan?
I don't follow comics. Especially, no. I know they're like kind of graphic novels.
Yeah.
But I did like being Blackguard. So with that, I was core stunt team. So I was all the previs stuff, which previs is where you do all the initial fight choreography and work out the later on sequences, and then they bring in all the day players and weekly people on for all that. And you bring in the actors, so Margot Robbie, Pete Davidson, Jai Courtney, Idris, all those guys and girls came in with us, and we trained with them and worked out with them and everything. And yeah, when I died back to Brown after they killed Pete, because the beach that they built that beach at Pinewood, that was all set. So that was all just containers, blue screen, and they brought in all the palm trees, all the shrubs, all the sand, built a wave machine and a pool and everything. It looked legit. And then that sequence, when they had the chopper coming through, it was like taking out all the tree lines. That was all explosive and det cord that they had wrapped all those real trees and stuff with, and we all got to sit there and just watch it go off. And we're all sitting there, we're like, I hope it goes well, because if not, that's an expensive reset, and it's going to be a while to get back into this. It went great. Everything blew up how it's supposed to. All the trees fell over and stuff. But yeah, because he dies right away. So when we got the opening script for it, reading for that sequence, we're reading it, and we're like, everyone dies?
Yeah, it was
everyone,
crazy.
But a lot of them were like, I don't know, Pete dies in the opening. No. Like, we're going to keep you on. We're going to go back to Brown, and you're going to be guards, and we'll kill you in other parts of the movie. So don't worry, you'll still be around. Like, oh, great. Okay, cool. Because yeah, for that one, I was fire safety as well. We had a few burns on that. So I was fire safety, getting the guys prepped and stuff and put them out and all that. And then I was killed in the hallway sequence as one of the guards with Margot Robbie. And then I was killed on the stairs of like when they're storming that giant structure. I was on the stairs, and Idris comes through, and we all get arrows in our necks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one. There was one gag that I was trying to. It's like Margot comes through, and she's got to it kills me first, and I've got to go kind of a 270 and then get out of the way so she can get into her wire work. And so I'm trying to spin, but I'm spinning all at once. It's supposed to be just this, the javelin is hitting me. And it kind of, when you react, you do head, shoulders, hips, but I'm kind of all going at once. And so on camera, it looks funky. And we got to keep doing it over and over and over. And that scene is only Margot Robbie and me. So all the cast and crew is watching just the two of us. And I'm getting we got to do it again. We got to do it again. We got to do it. I'm just like, so sorry. And then she's telling me that she's sorry. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I got to do it again. I'm like, no, it's not you. I go, I'm not doing what I'm doing. She's like, no. I go, I promise you, you're doing great. I'm screwing it up. I apologize. And one of the boss man had to come over to Chris Patton, and he was like, hey, man, you all right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's just monkey brain. I'm like, that's just monkey brain. Yeah. He's like, yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. Just we're good. Just remember what you're doing. I'm like, yep. And so he finally got it, but I feel like an asshole. I was like, I'm so sorry. And it's when everyone's looking at you too. It's when you do have your screw up moment. It's all eyes. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Starting to get all hot and stuff.
Yeah. So that was one of those days where it was like not my best day on set, but everyone's got those days for the most part, at least one of them. It sucked that it was with her. I was like, I'm so sorry, Miss Robbie.
You're also the Karate Kid, aren't you?
So I was the double for Dimitri for the first few seasons of Cobra Kai, Johnny DeCento.
Okay.
Double Ralph Macchio for one gag.
Hey, I would take it, man.
What's that?
I said I would take it. That's cool. That's really cool.
Oh, no, yeah. I came in that day and like, oh, you're doubling Ralph today. I'm like, wait, what? I'm doubling Ralph? I was like, let's go. So all that day was it was just him getting pushed into a desk and like a trophy breaks, and he did it himself. I was just there in case. Like, hey, Mr. Machio, I'm Lance. I'm here to help you today. If you need anything, let me know. I've got pads for you. If anything's uncomfortable, whatever, just let me know. He's like, nope, I'm good. And he did the gag, I think, 3 or 4 times and got what they wanted. And I was just there in case. But it was still good. It still counts. I'm like, I'll take it. I wasn't on camera with it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I would take it too. Did you have to? So I know a lot of these stunts, like, and it seems like you do a lot of fire stuff. I get it because you're a firefighter. I'm sure you know more than the average person. But for Cobra Kai, very martial arts kind of show. Do you know martial arts as well?
That's just wow. I'm not a martial artist. So season 1, I only had, I think, maybe 3 days that Dimitri had some stunt stuff he needed to double for. And then season 2, I think my first day on season 2, we were out at Fun Spot, and it was this scene where they're all on the stage and they're doing the big show and the flying, kicking, and breaking the board and stuff. So I was just holding the board. So if I got kicked, it was my hands, not Johnny's hands. And then after that day wrapped, Janelle Kirkman, one of the stunt coordinators, and she's like, "Oh, hey, so here's the tentative schedule for the rest of the season for Gianni's work." And I was like, "Janelle, I don't know martial arts." And she was like, "Well, in the show, he's not great at martial arts yet, so we're fine." I'm like, "Okay, as long as you guys are good, like, and you know that I'm not a martial artist, I don't want to be like, throw this huge high spinning kick." And like, I can't do that. But over time, his character obviously got better at martial arts, and so they found a double that was a martial artist as well. So it kind of worked out for him in the next double. But I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be Karate Kid status for what y'all need for when it gets to that level of martial arts. But when we're doing just brawls and stuff, I was able to handle those.
Yeah, that's really cool. Another cool one. All you got's cool stuff, but another one that, like, me and my kids just watched it from beginning to end for the second time. Me, my third time, is The Walking Dead. It looks like you've done a lot. Like, you've done that more than a few times, right? The Walking Dead
that
show.
One, I've done 41 episodes of Walking Dead.
Jeez.
Not counting the spinoffs. Yeah, since end of season 7, my first gag on Walking Dead. And then most deaths in one episode was 9 or 10.
In one episode?
Yeah. That was episode 1002, so season 10, episode 2. We're in the subway cars and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I got, let's see. I got first killed by Maggie. I was pulling her off of the subway car. It's her and Negan. I'm pulling her leg, and I drag her down. We kind of wrestle, and I get shot in the face. That was my first death. Then I got, with Norman Reedus, I had a grenade shoved in my mouth and blows all of us up. I was chasing Norman through the sewers, and I get crossbowed in the head. And then he turns to a sewer grate and kicks into a walker. I'm also that walker. So it cuts from me to me. Like,
that's awesome.
And then he comes out and I get a Morning Star with that one and killed with that. I got shotgun killed by Father Gabriel in the subway car. Forget the character's name, but he had these 2 like giant blades that get stabbed through both eyes of those. I got to help kill Gage, which is funny because I doubled him for a fight the previous season. And I was like, "Oh, remember our pose we did for when I was doubling you?" He's like, "Yeah, we did the same pose. He was all like ripped open and dead, and we did our same little side by side." And that was fun too because I wasn't really attacking him. I was under his armpits, but you can't tell on the scene, and I'm lowering him to the ground. I'm like, "You good? You good? You good? All right." Rah, 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 rah. So we're able to talk sometimes with that, and so since I was the one guiding him down, not letting him just drop, I'm like, "All right, you good? You good? You good? Okay, go." What else? There was, and then another one in that episode. Norman's going through with a pistol, clearing out subway cars. He got shot in the back of the head of that one. That might have been it for that episode. But yeah, that show was great because you're doing that kind of work. They just can bring you back over and over and over and over because you're in full makeup. So it's not like I recognize that person. And like other shows, when like starting out as an extra, you want like, where's camera? I want to be on camera. I want to be on TV. And you're trying and get there, but you start getting on stunt contracts. You want to not have your face get seen. You can be brought back as much as you can. So if you're, military guy, we'll try and pull our hats way down and hide our faces as much as we can. Like, put your hat up. Like, damn it. Right. Like, it looks stupid. I'm like, I know, I don't want to see my face though. When you're doubling, you got to hide your face, obviously. But when you're doing what's called ND or nondescript stunts, which is like cartel number 7, FBI agent number 2, bad guy number 6, whatever. You're fighting actors or fighting other stunt people or whatever or whatever your action is. But yeah, we'll try and hide our face as much as we can. As, hey, did I get burned last episode? No, you didn't get burned. Okay, call me again, please.
What was your favorite moment on The Walking Dead? Like, what, it could be stunt, or it could just be behind the scenes, or something you even saw watching. Like, it could just be one of your favorite episodes that you were part of.
Probably my favorite was it's a fan favorite too. Is everyone calls him Winslow 2.0. It's one of the heat walkers. So I'm in this helmet on a stick, and it's with Andrew Lincoln and Pollyanna, who played Jadis. So that was a fun one because it was just a really cool makeup. And then I got a lot of interaction with Andy, Andy Lincoln, and he's method. So what was fun with that was we had rehearsals, and when we're rehearsing, he's not Rick Grimes. He's just Andrew Lincoln. So I got to talk with him. There's a British accent and just shoot the breeze and stuff, which is really fun. But we had a rehearsal day with just stunts, got a lot of stuff dialed in, brought in the cast for the next day of rehearsal, and we would shoot it on an iPad, figure out what he thinks Rick would do, what would make sense for the motions and stuff. We'd shoot it on an iPad. We'd go sit in a little container box of shipping containers and out of the sun and out of the heat, and they'd go show the producers and stuff up at the producer building. Here's what we got, and they go, we like that, don't like that, change that, keep that, blah, 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 blah. Come back down, give us the notes. We'll add the notes in, reshoot it, show it back to them. We'll go back in the shipping container and talk some more. So that was a lot of fun, just getting to sit there and hang out and just talk, because a lot of times with the actors and stuff, when we see them, we're already in full makeup. Whereas on rehearsal day, we're just in street clothes. So it was cool to be not in full gack and be able to just talk normal with the cast. Those kind of surreal. It's always weird when you're getting to just hang out and just getting paid to just chill.
Yeah. So, Walking Dead's a very successful show, but what would you say is the biggest difference out of working on like some of the shows you have, like The Walking Dead and Cobra Kai and stuff, comparing it to like, you were also part of Bad Boys 4 and Shazam and Suicide Squad. Like, what? I know the easy answer is going to be money. I'm sure it's money, but what else would you say is like, does anything go different in your job? Like how you prepare or think or anything?
It just depends on the gag. So for a lot of the gags, if they're, I don't want to use the word simple, but if there's something that's not supposed to be like really technical, they won't tell you until you get there what you're doing. So until you're on set, and they're like, all right, you're going to be doing this. We're going to have you do this. So on Bad Boys for Life, I was initially scripted as shot through floor thug, which was a squib gag, and they come through and shoot through the bottom of the floor, the final shootout sequence. But for that one, the coordinator was like, you want to do the stair fall? I want to do the stair fall. I don't have one on camera yet, so did the stair falls in that one, but you don't even see it the way they did the camera movement. It hides the fall. But you'll just know you'll pad up differently. So like Walking Dead, you're pretty much just in shorts, knees and elbows. If you're doing something crazy, you'll obviously add like a back plate on or whatever. But in terms of preparing, you kind of just got to be ready for whatever. If it's something high profile, like a big fall or fire, they'll tell you ahead of time. So you can tell them that's not my wheelhouse or whatever. And just your sleep schedule. Because like when you're doing jobs like Walking Dead, your call times are usually really early because of the makeup and stuff. So on Wakanda Forever, I was on the telekineal, the blue guys and girls, we were going through 4 hours of makeup every single morning. So we're doing
what time?
Usually 4 a.m. was our usual call time. And it was in Norcross. So from where I'm at here, it was about an hour and a half drive to get there. So I'd leave my house at 2:30 to get there with plenty of time. And then 4 hours of makeup, shoot for 10 hours, 2 hours of makeup removal. So 16-hour days. And then get home. I'm like, okay, I can sleep for 3 hours and then got to get back on the road for another 16-hour day.
Oh my God.
You kind of just, you got to, with those kinds of jobs, just be prepared mentally to just embrace the suck. It was cold too. We were in the winter, and we were in Norcross at the OFS building, which didn't have the heat going at the beginning of it because they had to bring in the production heat and stuff because they don't have HVAC in that building we were in. And it was below freezing outside. It was probably below 40 inside where we were at. And to start the day, we got to get into our underwear and then get on a giant wooden booth and stand like this. And then 2 girls or 2 guys with paint rollers and blue paint start painting us head to toe. And the paint's really cold. So you're just sitting there and you're like, I love my job. I love my job. Great. This is great. I'm glad I'm here. And you are. You're glad that you're there. And it's like, it's just part of it. Makes for good stories. Everyone's suffering together. So it makes everyone kind of bonds over it. But after the blue paint, then you go and get your wig put on. Then after the wig, you start getting all the prosthetics glued on because we had glued on earpieces, we had glued on respirators, we had glued on 3D printed gills and all these big chest pieces, and all that's got to be laid in and glued onto our skin. And then the removal is ultimately alcohol and stuff. So we got to do that every single night. So by the end of it, we had about a month, I think a month and a half of actual shooting. My skin at least was hard. It was hard and shiny. And I was like, that's not good. It went away. But yeah, like for those, it's more of like the mental anguish of just like, all right, it's going to be fun. We enjoy what we do, but it's going to be really, really uncomfortable. So you just kind of prepare yourself mentally for those kinds of ones. That a lot of like creature work is just being uncomfortable and not being claustrophobic. Because people that are good into it, once they realize, we were on Walking Dead one day, and they brought in somebody new to do some of the Walker stuff. And she had gone through the works and done all the makeup and everything and looked great, got her on set. And then she just realized that she kind of had that moment of I'm in a box and just oops. We're like, well, now she knows, you don't, sometimes you don't know until you get put in those kind of situations, but
yeah.
They were like, yeah, we'll let you try it out and throw you in there. And she made it through all the hard stuff. And then when she kind of just realized everything is kind of, you can't move your face like you normally would, it's very constricting. But yeah, if you can't get out of that headspace, you won't do good. So I'm trying to think, but. And then money's the same because it's a regular contract, so your contract rates don't change. But then if it's a very successful show, you get better residuals. So if it's a really huge blockbuster does well, you'll get a better residual check for that. I got started about 8.5 years ago, so that was after VHS and DVDs and Blu-rays were already kind of obsolete, and it was all was called SVOD, subscription video on demand, or streaming. Sadly, SAG-AFTRA didn't account for that becoming the powerhouse that it is, and they like, that's not going to be the next big thing. Like, it is. So our residuals didn't follow the scale that it should with the streaming platforms. So like my old friend that did like Titanic or Pirates of the Caribbean, they'd go to Blockbuster and they'd go look at the wall and go, oh, we've got 2 whole sections. We're going to make bank on this. Or they'll go in and go, oh, there's 1 copy. I'm not going to get paid anything. So they would kind of give them a heads up. They could go to just Hollywood Video, Blockbuster, and go, okay, we're going to do well, or, oh, this is not going to do anything for us. But.
So you are getting residuals, though. I didn't even know if stunt people get residuals, and from streaming shows as well.
Right. It's just for streaming, it's not nearly as good as it is for like cable. So if you're so like shows like Law and Order or some of those shows and stuff, like anything that's on cable syndication, you'll make better residuals than just like a Netflix show or a Hulu show.
Okay.
Hopefully that changes. And we've tried to get a clear answer on the formulas and stuff, and we can't really figure out what it is. So when you try and talk to your friend and be like, okay, hey, so we have the same day on the same show, same adjustment, same time, same everything. Let me just make sure our checks are the same for residuals. What's yours? What's mine? Okay, why is yours that much more than mine? And those will be different, but there shouldn't be. And so we try and figure out why. And it's just that's kind of just the business side of things. And it can get frustrating because it's nice to know like your guaranteed income and what you should be making instead of trying to guess. or like trying to figure out why the checks would be different when they shouldn't be. But it's just part of it. It's all just, we call it creative accounting.
Talking about things that need to change. The Oscars nominations just got announced today, and it grinds my gears that Stunt don't get, recognized in the Oscars. How do you feel about that?
It's weird. Like, yeah, you've got kind of a split community, because you've got the veterans who they feel like stunt people are the unsung heroes of action and they don't do it recognition and stuff. But over the years, also, stunts has gotten so precise and so just dialed in and over the top. Like, look at Mad Max. That movie without stunts in it would be a 2-minute movie.
Yeah.
It's nothing but action. And to tell those guys and girls that worked all that on that, like you can't get nominated. Sorry, not even for coordinators and stuff. It is kind of weird. And we've tried to tell, we don't need it to be aired on television. We don't need it to be this. Just give us a category.
Yeah.
We can't do it because of airtime. It's in commercial breaks and stuff. It's already too long as it is. Then don't air it. Well, no. Well, there's always a reason. And then I went to see the new Fall Guy movie.
Yeah, it was amazing.
They make a little hat tip joke to that. Like, you guys get an Oscar? Like, no. Like, yes. Like, even on that. So, like, the industry's getting more aware that it's a little bit ridiculous that, hair makeup has their own Oscar category. Like, there's so many Oscar categories and stuff, but not as there should be. It takes all those departments to make something come to life.
Yeah. It's a team for sure, in hair and makeup and set design. It's important. But when the stunt people are literally risking their life, it's a little, and I agree with you. I think it should be on TV, but at the very least, sure, it doesn't have to be on TV. Just, you guys need to be recognized, and it's mind-blowing to me.
At least for a stunt coordinator, who's the boss and oversees all the safety from not just stunts, but all set safety. So, like, a stunt coordinator's job on set isn't just, okay, I've got my stunt people here, that's who I got to take care of. They oversee all of safety on set. So that's with all the cast, all the crew. If something looks like it's out of place, their job is they'll make sure, hey, let's address that. They're kind of a Jack and Jill of all trades, but they want to make sure that everyone goes home how they came to work, not just stunts, but everyone that's there. So, like, we were on a show this year, and at base camp, we were on location. Every 10 feet, there was this giant eye bolt coming out of the ground that was painted the same as the asphalt. And that's all everyone's trailers were. So all the actors and stuff were all walking around there. And I was like, this is a broken ankle all day long. So I went over to one of the TAs. I'm like, hey, can I get some like marking stand-in tape? And I got pink tape and just put boxes all around every eye bolt so that people wouldn't just sit there and break ankles. So we try and just keep an eye on all safety, not just for stunt work, but just anything that we see could be a problem. Like, hey, that's, hey, boss man, hey, boss lady, could you go, does that look okay to you? And like, no, it doesn't. Thank you. And they'll address it real quick. Yeah.
Have you seen any, you've worked on so many projects and so many huge projects, and I know safety is a big thing for you guys, but have you been witnessed, or even yourself, have you got injured or seen any injuries?
I had a concussion on set. I got hit by an actor on accident, one of the shows I worked on. He felt terrible, but he's like, I'm so sorry. And that's okay. That's why I'm getting paid and why I'm here, not an extra. And that's just, it happened. So I had to go to the hospital for that. That's my eye up pretty good too. I had blurred vision for about 6 months. I witnessed, like, people had to go get staples, gashes in their heads, hitting stuff on the corners with their heads, broken bones on set. I've seen that. But for the amount of work that I've done, fortunately, it's been very rare that I've seen a serious, it's a lot of just bumps and bruises and scrapes and, okay, it's going to hurt for a while and it's going to suck to walk for a little bit.
Yeah.
But actual injuries, fortunately, for shows I've been on, have been rare.
That's amazing. So if somebody wants to get into stunts, it may be, like you said, it's probably different than when you started, because you guys were like hustling, But what would you
Mhm.
tell somebody today if they wanted to get into stunts? How, like, how would they break in?
So same thing, just trying to get on sets as an extra. So with background work, it's a lot of through Facebook pages. So you could Google like Atlanta casting background, and it'll pull up all the related pages. But with background work, if any company says, I'll get you a job, like there was a popular one going around, it's like, oh, hey, they're casting for extras on Stranger Things, pay us $60 for our profile and blah, 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 blah. Anybody's going to charge you for work as an extra is a scam. You don't pay to be background. You don't. So don't pay somebody that's going to tell you, I'm going to get you a job as an extra, pay me all this money. You don't. So go on Facebook, find the pages, whether you're in New York, California, New Orleans, wherever you're at. You want to go somewhere where the film industry is at. So, you don't want to be in Oregon trying to be a career stunt person, because it's not going to happen in Oregon. You got to go somewhere where there's filming taking place, which is the scary part. You got to make that move and make that jump. But definitely get on set as an extra. From there, trying to get into stand-in work where you stand in for an actor. And with that too, I've seen people that have been stand-ins that got a stunt day out of it, because they're like, hey, you're already enough likeness of the actor you're standing in for. Today we've got 2 units. We want to put you in as a simple gag, as a stunt double for this unit, and they get touted that way. So you can get your start that way too, is a great way to get in. Don't give up. It sucks. It's a lot of no's, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I've seen a lot of people come and go. And if you meet somebody that tells you, here's what you should probably do, here's what I did, follow it. Because, they're telling you how they got their start. And then I've seen a lot of guys who are like, yeah, man, I don't know. I tried for 6 months. It didn't happen. Well, try for 6 more months. Try another year. Try 2 years. If it's really what you want to pursue and it's really what your thing is, you're not going to just go, okay, well, I've tried for 2, 3, 4 months. I quit. Let's see what else. But yeah, just it's a loaded question, because it's such a hard thing to break into. You want to have a headshot, start building your resume. And again, it doesn't start with my resume when I began was Halloween Horror Nights. That's all I had with Halloween Horror Nights. Stunt walker and scare actor. And then you get the one job and it starts to build up and you get more jobs and just your resume starts to grow. Once your resume grows, you get more vetted, your name gets out there. And then the more your name's been around, you kind of get, after a while, you're no longer having to hustle as much. The phone just kind of rings and you just get very fortunate where people know of you. And what I like most about it too is that a lot of the work comes from your friends referring you. So if you're on core team for a show, they've got some big day showing up, like, hey, we need 20 people. Who do you guys know that's available that looks like XYZ, or is this look, this build, this ethnicity? And hey, hit them. Are they free? And like, hey man, what are you doing next week? You free? Yeah, I'm free. Some of your stuff, and boom, now your friends got you a job on some show. So don't burn bridges. If you don't like somebody, just don't like them. It's fine, but don't go on platforms and start doing stuff. I see people tank their careers that way. There was a person that did it on Facebook and just blasted a coordinator on Facebook, and we're like, ooh. We're like, did you see that? Did you see that? And we're like, oh, their career is done. And that was the end of them. So you got to be careful. You got to keep your emotions in check, even if you think you're on the mountain of right and you're just, like, you know what? I know I'm right. I know they're wrong. I'm gonna blast them. You don't want to do that. So just don't burn your bridges. Just bite your tongue when you need to. Someone's bothering you. If it's on set, go to your immediate boss or your stunt coordinator and be like, hey, can you just, I'm having a bad time with so-and-so. I'm going to avoid them, whatever. But yeah, don't burn your bridges.
How do you train for your, your stunts, and do you like work out? Do you have to be like,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that was it. Like, do you basically, you know what I mean? Do you have to work out, stay healthy to be
So I do yoga. So I go to a yoga studio here. I go to Red Rock, do yoga a good bit, keep myself flexible to help avoid injuries. Because one thing you want to have is some land just the wrong way, but be so tight that's enough to pop a shoulder or pop a knee, and now you're out of work for 6 months to a year. So just try and stay loose. I try and find like a happy medium for cardio and weightlifting because I don't want to get bulky because the people that I double are pretty much 6 foot and thin. So I don't bulk up, but I try and stay fit enough. Just bouncing that cardio with that weightlifting. And then in terms of like your skill sets, we'll go train at either people's friends' houses, or we'll go to like a stunt gym or like a gymnastics gym that has like open gyms. We'll go to like open gyms and train there. But we'll just work on our fight choreo, like hit gloves and mitts, stretch, do some stuff, and just try and stay current. So if you get called to work and want you to do something, like I can do that, yeah. Or if you can't, like, hey, that's not quite what I'm able to do. Can I tweak it and this will work for you? And just let them know where your skills end and begin, so you don't end up overselling yourself. And then now there is an injury on set, which slows down production, stops filming until they get you gone, and they got to bring somebody else in to replace you. So yeah, just try and stay well-rounded.
So I'm sure you can't talk about this. Well, I'm sure you can like say that you're part of it, but I don't know how much you could tell us. You're going to be in Stranger Things, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did about a month and a half on that last year, a couple episodes. And that's all I can say.
Yeah, is that all you can say? Does it look really epic?
Super top secret. Yeah, we can't talk about nothing.
Does it look epic?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
It's a great show, so I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I will definitely talk to you after it comes out. Congratulations on that, man. That's, that has to be one of you've done a lot of super big movies, but I mean, Stranger Things has to be in the conversation when you're talking about some of the biggest shows of all time,
Mm-hmm. No, that was a fun call. And I was always so kind of like, not frosty, but just like bummed. I'm like, oh man, because my same boss from Cobra Kai coordinated Stranger Things. And I'm like,
okay,
if I could just get one day on Stranger Things, just have worked on just for a day before they're done, I'd be so happy. And it never happened. And then January of last year, I was dating a girl at the time, and I got a phone call from Hito, and he's like, hey man, you're free next week for rehearsal day this day and shoot the next day? And I'm like, I'm going to be in Costa Rica probably, huh? And I look at my phone, I'm like, that's when we're going to be in Costa Rica. I'm like, damn it. So I had to tell him no. I was like, I'm going to be out of the country. We already planned our vacation. We already have our itinerary paid for and everything. And she spent all this time getting all the stuff we're going to go sightsee and do. I'm like, I can't make her reschedule now. We've just done so much work. So I'm like, no. And he's like, let me more down the line. And I'm like, I wonder if that was for Stranger Things. He didn't tell me what it was for. And then I was like, oh, is that what it was? I don't know. And then phone didn't ring until way later on in the year. I get called again, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I didn't miss out entirely. But that was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a fun one. So that's awesome. The hard part is like you get these shows you work on, you get all these great pictures and videos of your friends and stuff, and like really cool stuff to put in your stunt reel later. But you can't talk about it. You can't share pictures. You can't even mention or hint at anything that has to do with it until it comes out. So like for Spider-Man Homecoming, that was like about 2 years before that came out. Same with Suicide Squad was about a couple of years. I did Flowervale Street this year with Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor. That was supposed to come out this May, and that's going to come out next May. So we got to wait a whole other year for that. At least per IMDb, at least. I go on, I'm like, IMDb, what's going on? And I'm like, wait, next May? I'm like, no, this May. What happened? Like, no, next year. I'm like, no, all this stuff I have to wait on.
So I totally get you wanting to be on Stranger Things. Definitely when you're, like your team. Who was it that went from Cobra Kai to Stranger Things?
Hito Koda and Janelle Kirkman.
Okay.
So they were the coordinators for Ozark, Stranger Things, and Cobra Kai, and they're kind of doing all three at once. So they were able to kind of bounce around and cover when they had major stunt days on these days. These ones didn't, and so they were able to kind of manage it and float around and work, which is great about the industry with friends too. Is that, like you said, it's such a small community and small group that everyone kind of just moves around and just floats, and you kind of just mingle. And like going to camp. You know, you don't see your friends for like sometimes 2 years. You get on a show and you're like, oh, I haven't seen you in 2 years. How you been? And it's like going back, just taking off from where you started.
Nice. Is there, besides Stranger Things, is there another like stunt or like a TV show or movie that you would love to do, like on your bucket list?
Oh, I really want to do like a mobster period movie, like riding on the side of a car with a Thompson machine gun.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun. It's like I want to do one of those. I want to do a Western.
Western would be cool.
Not a horse guy though, but you know, maybe a cowboy going through a saloon, something like that would be fun. But yeah, Western would be fun. Definitely want to do like a gangster type Al Capone movie. Is probably bucket list. One of my good friends now, worked with him on Flowerville Street. His name's Ed Bossert. He was on Highwaymen with Bonnie and Clyde. He was actually Clyde, I mean. So because of that movie, so Emily Bropp's stunt girl was Bonnie, and then he was Clyde because they didn't have a whole lot of dialogue. It was mainly just stunt driving and squibs and stunt work. So they were like, oh, we'll have you guys just be the actors also. I was like, lucky.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Driving Model A Ford and all that cool stuff. I'm like, man, that'd be so neat. But that'd probably be bucket list or like any kind of like other big franchise that have any more coming out. That'd be neat to get on one of those. Whatever big ones come out.
Well, you've been on a lot of big ones, man. You've been on a lot of really, you know, like I said, Shazam, The Walking Dead, Black Panther, Cobra Kai, Raising Dion. My kids love that show. Suicide Squad. It's so many, man. I don't even know. Good thing you got Stranger Things because your list has to be getting smaller and smaller of things you want to do.
I've been very blessed.
Yeah.
Some days, like, they're not really even big stunt days, like Raising Dion. It wasn't really anything stunty. It was literally we had it was like a compound, and we have a stunt person inside this like glass box, and they're doing all this like kind of contortion work. And our job that day was wheeling on this giant, heavy, massive rolling cage, kind of, and they're like, "Do not hit the set." So our job that day was pretty much just threading needles, going around corners and not smashing into walls and stuff and breaking the set. So that was. The stunt was don't break the set and keep the performer inside safe. So that was like not very stunty, but still considered a stunt role.
Yeah.
So those days you kind of feel like it didn't really do a whole lot. So I kind of forget about that one sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, I was on Raising Dion, but I didn't really do a whole lot. So it doesn't stay in the forefront of my mind. But that's what some days what they need. You know, it's what you're there for, is what they need you for. And some days you're like, I want to do what he's doing. He's got a really cool gag. And all I'm doing is standing over here and just blocking background from getting close enough to the action. And that's my stunt today. And I'd rather be what they're doing. But
it's all cool, man.
It all comes full circle. So, you know, some days you're the one watching people do the really cool stuff. Some days you're the one getting the cool stuff. Like, man, I want to do what you're doing. I know, so do I.
What's the stunt you're most proud of? What's your favorite moment that you know, like, that you picked the right choice of going down this road?
Fire.
My
first fire burn, it was on Walking Dead. My first fire burn was Walking Dead season 8? We're in like a basement, and it's Negan and Rick fighting, and Lucille's on fire. And the opening shot is I go and I grab Andrew Lincoln, and he grabbed me, and I get thrown to a wall. And then it's a real bat. So it's a real wooden Louisville Slugger that's on fire. And I've got my gator back spine protector on underneath all my fire retardant gear on my front. So I'm like, Andy, you can give me the business. He's like, all right. So he's felt it, and then light me up. So that was my first fire burn on that, and I was like, "Yep, this is what I want to do. Yep, this is fire. So much fun, and you just feel like you're earning your paycheck those days too. You're like, yeah, today I'm earning my check. I'm getting really cool footage. It's fun. I'm on fire. So we did that Impact, I think 4 times, and maybe 3 times. Then we went to The next part of that sequence, we had a girl on her stomach flat, fueled her back up, fueled me on the front out of frame, lit me out of frame. I fall into frame on top of her, light her on fire. So now we're both on fire. Come up. We did that a few times. And then we did about 4 takes of now Negan has Lucille back and he's walking out, clearing the walkers out. And now we're just on fire, just walking towards, and he's just taking us all out. But I was like, yep, this is fun. So yeah, those are the days where you're like, yep, this is what I was born to do. Or this is what I was supposed to do, at least for right now. You know, we'll see what AI does with film, if it ends up going away, or if AI starts taking away jobs, which we'll see. But for right now, I think it's what it's supposed to be. I'm really happy here.
I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping it'll just be another tool, you know, to just kind of move things just a hair. Hoping it doesn't take jobs, but we'll definitely have to see how it gets used, you know.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Yeah, sorry.
No. Go ahead. What were you going to say with the AI?
Hopefully that's what it's going to be too. But with AI stuff, though, the way we'll get scanned into computers, and so when we do a scan, we'll either stand in a spot or sit in a chair, and they've got a big dome of cameras around us, and they go 3, 2, 1, go off at once, and we'll get put into the computer. But my last time I got scanned now last year was after they scan you, then they put you in a chair and give you a Rolodex card, and they go to page 1, make that face. Go to page 4, make that face. Go to page 5, make that face. And now we're doing faces, so now they can make us talk and move and stuff with the computers. And so I'm like, a little bit of
yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's just a tool to make it just a little bit more realistic when they do add in for spots that we can't have us in it. We'll have put CG in, but hope it doesn't just get to the point where it makes us obsolete. So,
yeah, I do think there will be a time, and not so far away, that you could go on AI and be like, "Hey, put me in the new Suicide Squad movie, and I want to be the lead." And it'll be janky and it'll be kind of bad, but I do think that will be possible. But because it doesn't have that human touch, and it will be janky, and as an artist in any field, painting, filmmaking, anything, you know when to stop. That's kind of what makes us human. And AI doesn't know when to, it's trying to make everything perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just don't really feel like it will ever, for sure, I don't think it would ever take over. I'm just also hoping in the process, it doesn't make lots of people lose their job.
Right. Because like what I just saw, I watched a movie. What was I watching? I think it was Heretic. And in the final credits, they had a little disclaimer saying AI was not used in the making of this production. And I was like, oh, that's a new one. I'm like, oh man, is that going to be like, so that kind of stuff makes me like a little bit nervous. Because I'm like, does that mean like how? Yeah, I don't know. It's just uncharted waters, and say it's a great tool. Hopefully, it just remains, like I said, a tool and not a takeover.
Hey man, I think you're an ass kicker. You've done a lot of amazing things. I don't think you have anything to worry about. Is there anything you wanna shout out or talk about before we get going?
Just thanks for reaching out and having me on the show. I appreciate it. I always love just talking, and I talk too fast. I know. I'm sorry. I've had a lot of head injuries, and now I talk really quickly, and I can't slow it down.
No, it was good, man.
To anyone listening, don't take no for an answer. Follow your dreams for all legal means possible. Don't break the law to do it, but just, find your path. If you have a dream, don't let someone tell you, oh, you can't because of this, or you can't because of that, because there's always that exception. Be the exception.
Yep, I couldn't agree more, man. I'll put your Instagram handle in the description and everything. Okay, brother?
Appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you.
Of course.
All right, brother, I'll let you go right there. But thank you so much, man. I've been wanting to do this with you for a while, and then I kind of dropped the podcast idea, and then I brought it back, and I'm glad, man. I'm glad to meet you. Glad to have you on here.
That's your YouTube platform. That's pretty rad.